Welcome to Let's Get Riding. That's right, riding, not writing for this show. I've made a little diversion, and I'll tell you why. I have a newsletter about Let's Get Riding and my podcasts and shows. And at the end of the newsletter, I always ask my subscribers to share their stories with me. Well, one subscriber did. And I was so intrigued by this story that I feel should be a book that I thought I have to have her on the show and find out so much more about it and share it with you. In my newsletter, I had put a little video about my Spider, which is a 3-wheeled bike, and just how I was excited about learning to ride it. And that's how this came about. I want you to meet her. I'm going to bring her up on the screen right now and welcome Evelyn Ramsay.
Hello, Catherine.
Hi. Evelyn, you're in Moncton, New Brunswick, and I am in Grand Falls, Windsor, Newfoundland, for everyone to know our geography. Evelyn, we go a long way back, and by way of introduction, I want to let everyone know that you are branded as the Canadian dental coach, and that is, of course, where our paths have crossed over the years, because I worked in dentistry for so many years, and I met you, when, Evelyn? When did we first meet?
Oh gosh, it was like ages ago. It was
ages
ago.
Yeah, but we're not that old, so, not that long, really. But we've done many things through dentistry, and you have coached in our office before, and I've attended many of your lectures. In fact, I think I took my appendicitis attack at one of your lectures and had to.
When I was lecturing in Moncton.
We've been through everything. Anyway, but besides being an incredible leader in the dental field, you are also an incredible leader and inspiration for women everywhere. You always have been for me. You've always charted your own course and done interesting things, which brings us to this conversation of Let's Get Riding. Back in 2009, what was it that you did?
It was funny. I just first wanted to say that I never really let my dental clients know that I rode a Harley. Like, there was just like it didn't always, I felt mixed, but that was my stress reliever, was after work or after a hard day in the office, was to go for a nice long bike ride. And so in 2009, with a good friend of mine, her name is Peggy Parker, we call her Peggy. I talked her over a bottle of wine, and I talked her into being my co-conspirator in riding across America. So it was in 2009 that we did our trip.
Well, I've entitled that "Two Women, Two Harleys." So I've got the book name already figured out. And Evelyn, when I was just so impressed with that, how you approached it and how you did that trip. You've been riding for about 4 years, and you have a philosophy on that maybe you want to share with others.
Right. To anyone out there who's a new bike rider, my brother gave me the advice. He said, for the first 3 years, ride your bike like you own the road. Like, just be really confident, throw out the kickstand, like take off well, like just learn to ride really confidently. And then he said after the 3rd year to check your attitude, because you've now become dangerous to yourself. And that was true. I remember at the 3rd year, I was pulling out in traffic in between cars and just overconfident, going too fast into the corners. And just, it was an attitude, it was an ego. I had reached that confident level with my Harley that, I just needed an attitude adjustment. So in the year 3, I slowed down and became more cautious again. And I think it saves lives,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I've always taken I did it a couple of times, took the safety programs before I got my license, which I got it at age 22. So you got yours at age 50, which I think is even more impressive.
Well, I cheated a bit because my dad had taught me when I was 16, and then I never I didn't have the confidence to go for my license. And it was kind of unfinished business. You get married, you have children, and as women, we're always serving other people. In dentistry, I served a lot of dentists, and so at the age of 50, I just wanted to do something for me, and I wanted to finish what I had started. And so I recommend anybody who's either starting riding again or is looking at it is to go and take a safety course.
Yeah, I mean, the technical checkup before you go on the road, and just, you have two wheels. So you want to be sure that they're working well. And I just always remembered, at least what I had learned, was never to skimp on your tires. Always buy the best. And softer rubber was what I was told, so that it gripped the road better.
Yeah, and proper air pressure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well.
So, and I took Harley Davidson are great with women, and so they have a mechanical course. And so I went and took one of their mechanical courses. It was just, I think, 1 or 2 evenings a week. And they just kind of give, as a woman, all of the little tips that you should know about riding. And 2 things that my dad had told me was carry vice grips and that black electrical tape, because a vice grip will hold something together and she'll get you home, and the electrical tape, you can tape it together. So those are 2 things I had in my toolbox all the time.
And actually not a bad idea to have in your purse anytime, anywhere, anyway.
That's
why not?
Right. You never know.
You never know. No.
Need that.
It's only inconvenient when you're going through the airport, which we don't have to worry about yet. Evelyn, so I want to get more into this adventure. Tell people what you did and where you went, because you did some amazing things. I love the fact that you started from Halifax, Nova Scotia, but that was where you got on a plane, not on a bike. Just tell everyone what your plan was.
Well, what we did was we had I had a 1200 Sportster, and Peggy had a larger Harley, a Deluxe Deuce. I forget the name of her Harley now, but it was a little bit bigger than mine and a little newer. And we decided that we would ship the bikes by tractor trailer from Harley Davidson dealership in Halifax, Nova Scotia, because that's where I was living at the time, straight through to Calgary. And then we shipped. They crated our bikes and they shipped them, and we sent all of our luggage in the crate because it was being paid for anyway. So why not load the crate? We sent our helmets, luggage, everything. And then all we had to do was get on the plane. We wore jeans and t-shirt, and we carried our leather jackets. We didn't want to ship our leathers. We carried that. And we flew out and landed in Calgary. And then my cousin picked us up and then took us to the hotel. We got settled in, and then we went down and picked up the motorcycles and brought them back to the hotel. Got a good night's sleep and ready to ride America
the next day. That's just the most amazing story. And knowing you as I do, Evelyn, I know how you think things through and plan. And so how did you do with packing your kit and so on? Did you ever feel like you forgot anything, or,
No, we had researched it. A couple of things that we did was we had a headset. We had 2 helmets. We had our shorty helmet. Actually, I have my helmet here with me.
Oh, sure.
To show you. I actually do have that. So there it is.
There we go.
Shorty. And then we also had a full face. So when we were riding in the city, we had an earpiece so I could talk to Peggy on her bike. And the reason for the full face was we couldn't do it with the shorties because there was too much wind. We couldn't hear each other. But with the full face helmets through the city, we could hear each other really well. That really helped us stay together to navigate the city. I had a GPS. I had it mounted right on my handlebars so that I could see. And then, I had a whole list of things that we took with us as far as a list of things that we needed. I can go over those with you.
Well, one of the best things I thought that of your plan was you're always going to stay in a hotel. Absolutely brilliant.
I couldn't see just staying if you're going to ride for 8-10 hours a day, you want a good bed to sleep in. I just didn't have, I just couldn't see pitching a tent with that zipper. It was the only protection that you had. Because actually, when you're out on the motorcycle, it's not like you're in the car and you can just lock the doors if you feel unsafe. When you're on the motorcycle, you are really out in the element, and so it just felt good at nighttime to go into a hotel. we didn't book ahead. We
Mhm.
took the risk of, maybe not being able to find something, but we had no trouble. Like every night we slept in a nice hotel and it worked.
Yeah, and a great way to get cleaned up, fresh for the road, good sleep. So you also made this more than about yourselves, which I think was just wonderful. And tell me about that.
My son said, "Well, Mom, you just can't do this ride for yourself." And I said, I planned on it. And so he said, "No, no, no." He goes, "You have to do it for a cause." And so he said, "Pick a cause and I'll do a website for you. And you can raise money for," so our cause, I checked with Peggy and we decided on Children's Wish Foundation. And so we rode for Children's Wish Foundation. And so people could donate through the website. And the website also served two purposes. People could donate, but our families and friends every day could check where we were. Because every day we would go into the hotel, get on the Wi-Fi, post the pictures we had taken, and a little summary of where we were. Because when you're on the road and you're riding, you don't want to have to make 10 phone calls when you get home to the hotel.
No.
So we would just post it, and then people could know that, okay, we lived another day, and they could kind of track us on the map where we were.
Yeah, and absolutely. You raised a considerable amount of money on that trip too, did you not?
And people were able just to go on, and we didn't have to handle the cash. They could just go on the website and donate directly. I mean, and I had business cards made out, so I could pass them out on my trip. And then because people will talk, and you can say, "Yeah, we're riding for Children's Wish Foundation," and then I could pass out the business card, and on it was where they could go to our website and they could donate. So we didn't have to handle cash. There were times when we came out in the morning and there was cash actually on our motorcycle because people had talked to us and thought about it and decided that they wanted to donate, and they didn't maybe have a computer. And so what we did was we would just go on and donate and just put from anonymous, and then we just used the cash because we already donated through our own banks. But it was a good, it was amazing. It was fun.
Pretty
So I have to thank
heartwarming
myself for
story.
that, because I was going to just do it for me.
Well, you were 55 when you took on this trip, so a lot of times when we're these ages, we just go, "Yeah, we're doing this for me." We've been doing everything for everyone else. My turn. But Evelyn, did you see it was over $7,000 you raised for Children's Wish at the
Pretty
time?
close to it. And so we were really pleased with that. And it was, it was just something, and it also opened up conversation because we could talk to people, because they would say, like, "Why are you girls riding?" And, "Where are you from?" and that. And so it just was a great, actually, it was a great idea. If I was going to do something again, I would do it again for that cause. So.
Yeah. Now, you sent me a list. I'm going to read off a few names here. Beartooth Pass, Road to Sun, Chief Joseph Howe Highway, Yellowstone, Montana, Missoula, Billings, Cody, Wyoming Rodeo, the Cody, Wyoming Rodeo, Crazy Horse, South Dakota, Deadwood, South Dakota, Midnight Star Casino, and that's affiliated with Kevin Costner. Deadwood, where did I pass that one? Wild Bill Hickok and Calamity Jane, Sturgis, south to Memphis, Graceland, Beale Street, all those very safe areas up into those ones. Oh yeah, Sun Studios, Tennessee, North Carolina. You went over Deals Cap. Now that you have to explain, and Tail of the Dragon. Which has 318 curves in 11 miles. Okay, these are some of the highlights, and you headed home through Kentucky, West Virginia, New York, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, blah, blah, back to Halifax, Nova Scotia eventually. Come on, tell me about some of these places. What memories were you left with?
Well, first of all, going over the Rocky Mountains through Beartooth Pass and over the Road to the Sun was absolutely stunning. And up in the mountains, there was snow on the side of the road. So that was gorgeous, just absolutely stunning weather and just territory. Yellowstone, if any of you are watching Yellowstone right now, this series with Kevin Costner, I mean, I just fell in love with the Yellowstone Provincial Park. It was absolutely beautiful through there. And we got lost in there, and we stayed an extra day in Yellowstone just because we just loved it. It was majestic. And then we went to a rodeo in Cody, Wyoming. That was fun. Like really wanted to see that. And I fell in love with Montana. In fact, what you don't know is I went back the following year. I flew into Montana and spent a week on horseback in Montana at a dude ranch. So that was, if I could live anywhere, I would live in Montana. It was beautiful.
I've often heard people say that, Evelyn, and now you've given me another idea. A dude ranch trip would be fun.
It was so much fun. And also with, Crazy Horse, we could have went to other places, but we decided it was such a native tribute to the Indians in that area, and we really wanted to see it. So Crazy Horse, if anyone wants to know what it's like, they could Google it, and it's just fascinating. It's a man who decided to, carve a horse and an Indian in the side of a mountain, and what that looks like. So it's beautiful. Mm. Then we went to Sturgis. We kind of were there a week before the bike, and we got to see it, but we didn't want to stay for the bike rally. It was just, I think, two girls on a bike. We just felt a little intimidated by that, and we were enjoying the open highway. And then, of course, down to Graceland. Like, who doesn't want to see Elvis? What's the trip without seeing Elvis?
Oh, it's fun to go there.
Yeah, and Beale Street, I had fried green tomatoes on Beale Street. So just the music and the outdoor and the festivity, it was gorgeous.
My God, Evelyn, I've had those too on Beale Street. The fried green, they're excellent.
And then down to Tennessee, and the Tail of the Dragon is in Deals Cap. It's in North Carolina. It's right on the border between North Carolina and Tennessee. And it was 318 turns in 11 miles. And so we rode that Saturday afternoon, fully packed, fully loaded. And we hadn't planned on that. We had driven in, and we were going through so many twists and turns. I said to Peggy, we must be on the Tail of the Dragon. Because I've never been on such a winding road in my life. And so then we keep going a little further, and we see the sign, and it says Tail of the Dragon. And we thought, oh my God, like what we just went through, if it's any worse than that, I don't know if we can do it. But anyway, we did it, and it wasn't any worse. We were just warmed up, like we were ready to go.
Well, I'm going to throw up some photographs here, actually. So I didn't want to interrupt you, but this is, where is this one?
That's Road to the Sun, and we were up 11 or 12,000 feet, and we were just on our climb up. It was beautiful. And so Peggy had that's her bike on the right. We just stopped to take a quick photo. And I'm looking at her like, come on, let's go, let's go.
Evelyn, that's a lot of gear on your bike. Did you have a hard time adjusting to that?
No, not at all. It was no different than having a rider on back. You think if you had someone on the back of your bike, but my gear was packed up to my shoulders, and the bike was top heavy. But that actually worked for me going into turns. You didn't have to lean very much. You could just go right in.
Excellent. Okay, let's see what's coming on. Oh, look at you. Now, where's this?
That was taken in Windsor, Nova Scotia by a photographer. He asked to take my bike. And so at the day, he wanted the yellow bike in a field of yellow dandelions. And so we did it in front of an old barn. And then he said, no, I want you with the bike. So I was like, okay. And I didn't want to wear a bike helmet. So I asked him, I said, how about the cowboy hat? We'll make it Western. And so he goes, yeah, he loved it. So yeah, that was my Harley. And
what a beautiful
that was
picture.
My leathers. I wore that. The only thing missing was my helmet.
Let's see what we have here. There is a good picture of the
that's
bike.
A bike without all the gear on it. That was just a straight bike without. So it was 1100. It was custom. It was loud. Had nice pipes on it and good tires and
a bigger tank. I think you said.
Yeah.
Very nice. I remember seeing it parked outside at your house there in Windsor, Nova Scotia, thinking like, no, okay, this is lovely. And here you are again in your gear.
With dark hair.
Well, these are choices we make along the road. Oh my goodness. And another shot of the baby?
Yeah, I love that shot. That was just before, that was after I moved to Moncton. And so I like that. That's on the border between Nova Scotia and Moncton. Kind of my two loves, Nova Scotia and New Brunswick. So my bike is, I just gone for a nice day ride, and I must have been, maybe, no, I was on my way back to Halifax, I think, because I got my overnight bag on it. So
you're an adventurous person. And we're back to the first one again. And the other one I wanted to bring up, just to show in the stream, we'll hide that one. There we go. Here we go. That's something from Harley Davidson.
It is. It was probably back 2008, maybe. I don't remember what year, but they had asked me to just pose in their Harley jacket. I had got a ring on and a watch. That was just for Harley Davidson Privateers in Halifax was doing an advertisement for Christmas. So they asked me if I would pose for that picture, and I did.
Well, I think they chose a great model. I think an inspiring one who was going to do their product proud. And so you didn't go into the Harley factory or museum in Minnesota or Minneapolis?
But you did. You were there.
I did. Yeah, I was surprised you didn't go in there. I guess it just wasn't on the trail.
No, we didn't. We wanted to see things that we hadn't really seen before, like the culture. It was just really, we met so many interesting people along the way, even in South Dakota. You know, like we didn't eat at big restaurants. We ate at mom and pop shops, and it was just really about the experience of being outdoors. Two women, you know, riding together. And then also, Peggy was just going through a nasty divorce at that time, and I was just kind of in between, not sure what I was doing. And so we just decided to get out of town and to do something to ride America. It was just that point in your life that you wanted to do something different, and we did.
And you sure did. And it's something you can sit back on now and talk about and relive those moments and wonder what you're going to do next.
Yeah, I talked her into it because she was hesitant at first. And I said, you know what, we can be two old ladies someday sitting in a rocking chair looking back. And you can either say, I had a chance to ride America with my Harley when I was 50, or you can say, I rode America on my Harley when I was 50. So what do you want your script to be? And so she goes, okay, that's it. I'll do it.
Yeah, I think that would have brought me around as well. And Evelyn, lessons learned along the way. What kind of takeaways did you take from this adventure?
My takeaway is you can, as a woman, you can have confidence. You can do a motorcycle ride. You have to be prepared. You have to prepare well for it, and take all the safety precautions that you can, and then just motorcycles are dangerous. There's no doubt about it. I'm sure my family were worried about me, and and you just have to read the road and take. We equipped ourselves. We took safety courses, and we had good bikes, and we rode in good weather, and I think motorcycle riding, you become an excellent driver because you learn to read just not the traffic, but you're also reading the road conditions, if there's any wild animals on the road. Like we came across I have one story.
Okay.
We're in Yellowstone, and there's a buffalo coming, and we are, of course, on the outside of the bikes, and like we're sitting on our bikes, we have no protection. And so the buffalo is just sauntering over towards Peggy. And so Peggy turns to me and she goes, oh my gosh, like he's coming my way. Like, what does he want? And I went, I think he just wants to sniff you. And so she goes, I don't want to be sniffed. And so the buffalo came over, looked at us, and then just kind of walked away. But when you're on a motorcycle, you are, it's not like you're in the car, you can roll up the windows.
Yeah, sure enough.
So it was an experience. We loved it so much that actually it spoiled us, because when we got back home again, people would say, where do you want to go? And I'd say, well, anywhere, but I'm not going to Tim Hortons.
where all the bikes hang out.
So yeah, we didn't hang around Tim Hortons a lot. So
You told me a funny story about Tim Hortons. Is that one we could quickly share before we wrap? It was or was someone asking you about a bike?
Yeah, it was a guy who was asking me if I, he goes, you must not ride much because I never see you at Tim Hortons. And it was like, and Peggy and I always laugh because we say, don't go there, don't go there. So he went there. So then I said, well, actually, in 2009, I wrote America, so yeah, you won't find me a lot at Tim Hortons. People misjudge you. I think that was, people see you as feminine, as a professional work person, and they don't realize that you're capable of doing something, out of the ordinary. And just one more story. I was at Tim Hortons in Windsor, and my bike, like I said, was loud. And so I saw this little old lady. She had a cane to get out of her car, and she was headed my way. And I thought, oh, I better turn off the bike because she's going to lecture me on, like my bike is too loud, because it was loud. Anyway, so she came over and she took her cane and she hit my front tire, and she said, I can say this. She goes, "You are living my dream." Isn't that sweet?
Yeah, that is nice to hear. And
yeah,
so
living the dream.
I think the message is for any women out there, and I was wanting to entitle this show Badass Women. It's going to be Two Women, Two Harleys, that are out there sort of thinking, I wonder what I can do next. Well, just do it. Like you say, write the script and do it. I think that's our message from today. And you've done some very interesting things. I think along with getting your bike license, you had gotten your gun license at the same year, wasn't it, when you turned 50?
Yeah, when I turned 50. Well, my dad was a big gun collector, and I was always worried that if something happened to him, I would need to help my mom, to kind of, and you can't buy bullets, you can't sell bullets, you can't handle handguns unless you're legally licensed and you've been trained on it. So yeah, turned 50 and got my gun license and my motorcycle license.
An interesting year.
If I didn't advertise that I had my motorcycle license, I didn't really talk a lot about having my gun license either.
No, that's.
But I am an owner of a 22 and a 357. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's always interesting to do things. And actually, I got my gun license this year, and the restricted. So I'm looking forward to being part of a gun club and learning more about that. So it's just challenging ourselves and doing things. And did I mention I did my air brakes? That was for a motorhome that never manifested, and I was silly enough to go first and get it done. But anyway,
I think that's why we've always enjoyed laughing, Catherine, because there's, I think when people look at us, they don't see us as motorcycle riders or gun owners, and so I think women shortchange themselves too often. There's a lot of things that they can do and be responsible. It doesn't have to be just the boys that have all the toys.
No, we can too. I like it. And a great note to end on. Thank you so much, Evelyn. And thank you, everyone, for joining us. I hope you enjoyed this show, just off the beaten path a little bit. Let's get riding, not writing. And please, if you have comments, leave them. And Evelyn or I or both of us will be sure to get back to you. Have a great day, everyone. And Evelyn, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Catherine.
Bye. Bye now.